I just lost mine. I don't know if somebody just turned on their mic.
Oh, wait, no.
I'm going to put another one out just in case.
I still have mine.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I don't dare move any of your mics right now, so let me just leave a little space for myself. Thank you so much for coming this morning. It's good to see all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to share about this next step with you. You know, my life has been defined by service, and that is I've served my community as a community volunteer. I've served my school district as a school board member. I've served my House district as an elected representative. I've also been very honored to serve my caucus and the House chamber as Speaker of the House, which I will continue to do over the next year. I am now running to serve our state of Minnesota as governor of the state of Minnesota. Many of you are familiar, but I want to let you know a little bit more about who I am. I was born in Paynesville, Minnesota. We moved to the Minneapolis area when I was 7. I graduated from Kennedy High School and then joined the workforce. I moved back to Paynesville, and together my husband and I have raised our family in the Cold Spring area for nearly 30 years. When I was growing up, I remember back that Minnesota was a place where businesses could grow, families could thrive, and kids would receive an excellent education. But we're now struggling as a place where businesses are struggling because of expensive, one-size-fits-all mandates. Families have too much taken out of their family budgets to fund fraud and waste and pet wasteful projects here in our state. And less than half of our kids can read at grade level. Over the course of the last few years, we've seen an $18 billion surplus squandered. We've seen our taxes and fees raised from family budgets by another $10 billion. We've also seen businesses, school districts, and local governments facing impossible situations because of Democrat overreach right here in Minnesota. We've seen soft on crime policies, dozens of mandates on farmers, on our small businesses, families, and schools, and over $1 billion lost to fraud with no one held accountable by the governor. Let me remind you of this. The fraud has been enabled by Governor Walz for his entire time in office. He has not taken steps to hold anyone accountable within his agencies until the fraud committee held a hearing on one of the fraud-riddled programs. As House Speaker, I have worked very hard to deliver the biggest spending reduction in Minnesota history. I've stopped devastating cuts to our non-public schools, and I did establish that fraud prevention and agency oversight committee. I am grateful to have the support of many of my colleagues, community leaders, and Minnesotans across the state. Going forward, my focus will include growing our economy, making Minnesota a business-friendly state. I'll also be focusing on improving our educational opportunities and outcomes for all Minnesota students. We are definitely going to be focusing on eliminating fraud before it even starts and wasteful spending. I know together that we can build a stronger Minnesota for today and for generations to come. And I look forward to getting to work. So with that, I would love to hear from you the questions that you might have for me.
Representative or Speaker Demuth, how are you going to navigate this growing field of Republican candidates, including some who will refer to you as a Republican in name only?
I look forward to the campaign and the work that we have ahead of us in the same way that I've held myself accountable and done my work in the legislature. We have delivered a number of good things for Minnesota. That's spending reduction, protecting our non-public schools, and doing the work at hand that Minnesotans across the state expect us to do. We don't need any more one-size-fits-all mandates across the state. We need to make sure that there's local control within our cities, within our school districts, and our businesses, making this a place to thrive.
Just a quick follow-up, Speaker Demuth. In 2023, some will say your caucus didn't do enough to stand in the way of all of those Democratic initiatives. Did you do everything you could from a minority perspective?
In 2023, our state was under full one-party Democrat control, and we see where that has gotten us today. During 2023, there were over 6,000 new government jobs added to the state of Minnesota. We saw the squandering absolute waste of an $18 billion surplus, and every one of our taxes and fees were raised to the tune of almost $10 billion, exploding our state government budget in a way that was not going to be sustainable. We are now looking at a deficit, but thanks to my leadership as Speaker of the House in a tie, with only having 1/2 of state government, we were able to deliver the largest spending reduction and take a bite out of that upcoming deficit that Governor Walz has led us into over the past few years.
You're hoping to get President Trump's endorsement, but how are you going to do that if you make the kinds of compromises that you need to make divided government work?
I have been able to work in divided government very well in the fact that I have proven myself as a strong conservative leader and been able to navigate the challenges of not just divided government, but a tie in the House of Representatives. And I have proven that I am an effective leader working with Governor Walz, working with my Democrat colleagues, and I look forward to seeking the endorsement of President Trump should he choose to give that to me.
Are you abiding by the party endorsement?
My intent is to abide by our party endorsement. I am proud to have been endorsed every time that I've run for the legislature, and I will be seeking, and my intent is to abide by that endorsement.
Not running a primary.
I am attempting to abide by that endorsement. I am seeking that endorsement. Unfortunately, we have seen a number of candidates already come out saying that they are bypassing that part of the process, and what I know is I have been endorsed. My intent is to seek it, and we will go forward in the Republican pool that we've seen grow over the last few days.
Keep the primary as a possibility if
I am attempting to seek that endorsement at this point in time.
Governor Walz has tried to be a counter to the Trump administration. If you were governor, would you be in lockstep with the Trump administration's policy?
I think the things that we have seen Governor Walz do to our state here in Minnesota over the last number of years, we are not in a better place because of that. And so it's important that we do the best things that we can for Minnesota and focus on where we align with President Trump. We are looking forward to working together in partnership, which is better for Minnesota and better for our country.
How is running for governor going to affect working with Democrats in split?
I have proven myself over the last number of years that I can effectively work with my Democrat colleagues. Former Speaker Melissa Hortman and I worked very well in the most contentious of times, working through first a tie, as you remember, and then not quite a tie as we waited for a special election on the Democrat side. We've proven that we can work together, and I expect to do that when we return in February.
Just a logistical question. You alluded earlier to delegating some of your leader responsibilities as you run for governor. Can you confirm that Leader Niska is going to take over the campaign operations for the House Republican Caucus?
Our absolute focus is on gaining a full majority in the House of Representatives, and we look forward to that in the 2026 election. We have already been breaking records as far as the amount of money raised. We've got great candidates coming on board. Leader Niska will be in the forefront of the House Republican Campaign Caucus, the HRCC. I will do whatever I can behind the scenes to make sure that that is effectively working, but we're in one of the strongest positions that we've ever been, proving to Minnesotans that when Republicans are even just in a tie here in the state, they are better off because of it, and we look forward to that full majority.
Get any calls from like the White House or the Republican Governor Association or the Vice President, or can you tell us what kind of national convincing they laid on you at all?
Definitely, we will look forward to seeking endorsements and working with those national organizations. That is something that is yet to be determined, and we'll go forward on that.
After your pitch to Republican delegates, how are you planning to differentiate yourself from those in the field?
The way that I am choosing to differentiate myself is the fact that I'm a proven leader here in the state of Minnesota. First as minority leader of our caucus in the years of 23 and 24, now as Speaker of the House, again, delivering many good things for the state of Minnesota. My conservative values stand strong, and I will continue with those.
Speaker.
In your campaign video, you said the governor quote hates us. Can you talk about that? What does that mean, and what is that?
For those of you that have seen my launch announcement video, there are words that are said by Governor Walz himself, things that he has said specifically about Republicans. That negative rhetoric needs to stop, but we have a leader of our state that is choosing to focus on that and continually calling out people in ways that are not helpful. Minnesotans want us to pull together. They want to see a government that is effective and will work together. That is what I'm going to do. But you heard Governor Walz and his words in my video very clearly, what he thinks of Republicans and people that don't agree with him.
Madam Speaker, you were the first black person and first person of color to become Speaker here. And if elected, you'd be the first person of color to be governor. Do you consider that significant at all?
I first believe that I am the best person to both lead my caucus, now as Speaker, the best person to lead the House of Representatives as Speaker, and I will be the best person to serve as Governor of the state of Minnesota. The things that might be historic that we've seen over time, typically I don't focus on those, but that's part of my story. That's part of who I am, and when elected, being the first black person, male or female, and the first female to be governor, I'm honored by those things. I want to set a pathway forward for those that are looking for an example of how first you are qualified to do the job, and secondly, those things that people might be paying attention that make history. I'm looking forward to being that example.
The third term for Governor Walz mean in the state?
A third term for Governor Walz for our state. What we have seen happen over his first two terms, we are not in a better place because of that. Minnesota is ready for a change, and I'm ready to lead that change. Caroline.
Kristen Robbins, your colleague, who's also running for governor, in a statement said that she's the only one who's been proven to win in the suburbs, and she also said that you have been criticized you for backroom deals with Governor Walz after meeting with grassroots. I mean, how much is that work with the governor going to hurt you with the GOP activist base in your current role, and can you comment on her criticism that only she is the candidate who can win the suburbs?
Representative Robbins and I came into the legislature in the 2018 election. We started serving in 2019. Our offices were right next to each other for a number of years, and we've always been friendly with each other, and we get along very, very well. As far as the work that she has done, when I was able to establish the fraud committee and choose a good chair for that committee, that is our only committee that is held by a Republican for the entire 2 years. I selected Representative Kristen Robbins to chair that committee, and I'm proud of the work that she has done. I look forward to doing work together throughout this next legislative session. We have great things to do. I know that I am the best candidate because of the work that I've already been able to do, the work that I've already been able to do with negotiating with Governor Walz and delivering for the state of Minnesota.
Why have you seen Trump run your own race?
Definitely, I am running my own race, and I am looking forward to serving the state of Minnesota. I have solid conservative values that really do cross party lines. It's not just Republican values, they are conservative values that are supported by many Minnesotans. If President Trump would choose to give me his endorsement, I would definitely welcome that.
So what do you admire about him?
I think President Trump has definitely delivered on the promises. We have safer borders. When I think of our northern border here in the state of Minnesota, we have safer borders throughout our entire country, which means our communities are safer.
If he were to send in the military to enforce immigration laws in Minnesota, what would be your reaction to that?
I think back to 2020, when we had our largest cities burning, and there was a lack of leadership on the part of our governor. The National Guard wasn't sent in by the president at the time, but it clearly showed that we had a lack of leadership from the very top here in the state of Minnesota. I will be a governor that is able to lead and lead well, make sure our communities are safe and people are following the laws.
So you would not object to that if he decided that was necessary?
I don't think that we can get to the point of the what ifs right now. I have an election that is literally going to happen 1 year from today, and we will look at that as we go forward.
Are you watching closely Virginia and New Jersey where there's governor races tomorrow? Blue state Republicans, what they're doing to try to break the streak there?
I'm definitely watching the elections that are happening across the country tomorrow. Some of those states, as you've mentioned, I'm watching. More importantly, though, I am definitely watching what happens here in our own state, including the mayor's race in the state of Minnesota, or in the city of Minneapolis.
What was your biggest accomplishment as Speaker of the House in the past session? Was it the restriction of Minnesota Care Fund documented immigrants and other policy? What are you proud of?
We had a lot of accomplishments, both things that we were able to do and things that we were able to stop this last year. One of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that Speaker Emerita Hortman and I could come to an agreement early on, even though there was a 23 delay where our Democrat colleagues stayed out. We came up with an effective way to lead the state. Because of a tied House, that was what the voters chose to do, and that was what was put before us, and we did that in a very respectful way. Even though we didn't agree eye to eye on everything, we were very respectful in the way that we did that. We delivered Team House when we came into negotiations, and you saw us finish up basically on time. We needed just a few more hours to finish up that work, and we finished that June 9th. I'm proud of the work that we did together, leading through a divided government to deliver for Minnesotans a better budget than what we had seen.
Governor, would some of your priorities be rolling back some of those tax increases you talked about and also mandates?
We know that our state right now is definitely overtaxed. That's corporate, that's individual. People can't afford their lives. We will be looking at everything that is done. Policies are going to be rolling forward over the next weeks and months, but definitely making Minnesota a place that we can afford our lives, businesses can thrive, and everyone can succeed is going to be a priority. We are looking at ways that people can save money and afford their lives. That is for families, that is for businesses, that is for our smallest businesses to our largest businesses. We have to have a way that we can afford our lives and that Minnesota can grow and be successful for all.
What are the top areas of spending you'd like to cut then if there is a projected?
I am not ready to look at specific areas on what we need to cut. That will be developed as we go forward. Any further questions?
Madam Speaker, it's hard not to acknowledge the memorial back there behind you. Is there any significance to what happened June 14th and your decision to make this move?
When we think of what our state went through on June 14th with the assassinations of Mark and Melissa Hortman and the attempted assassinations of Senator John Hoffman and his wife, our state and our country, because of that, is in a much different space than we were before. Political violence has no place in Minnesota. It has no place in our country. And it takes leaders from the very top that tone down the negative rhetoric against each other and find ways to work together, even when we disagree. Just because we disagree does not mean that we have to be disagreeable. And I'm looking to be that leader that Minnesota is counting on to lead in a positive way and find a way forward.
As the highest ranking Republican in state government, do you consider yourself the front runner in this race?
The voters will definitely choose, but I bring a number of strengths that my other the other people that are running for office, the other Republicans that are running for governor, do not have. That is both with the experience and what I can bring. I'm looking to do this not because I've ever tried to climb any type of political ladder. My background, if you look back into it, even though I've always been a faithful conservative voter, I was never involved in the grassroots in any way. My first elected experience was on school board, and I did that as a write-in. I did that as a way just to serve my community. And so I'm looking forward to serving Minnesota as governor, and that is the way I'm approaching this and going forward.
The same opponents will say you're not far enough to the right. How will you respond to that?
That my conservative values, what I've done in the legislature, and my consistency in the person that I am, the character that I hold, will prove that to be true.
He's made it clear that he's going to be running on gun control. Are you going to have any kind of gun safety platform?
You know, Governor Walz had said that he was going to bring us back for a special session, and it has been almost 4 weeks since I've heard anything. But when we return in February, what people really want to know is that we have safe communities and safe schools, and we actually have bills ready to go that could be heard within committees that would ensure that schools have the safety dollars that they need, that our communities have the support that they need to create a stronger and safer, better Minnesota. We're ready to get to work, whether that is in February or if the governor would call us back early.
I'm almost certain there will not be a special session.
The governor is the only one that can call a special session. When he calls that, or if he calls that, I have said from the very beginning, House Republicans stand ready to come to work and do that. That would be up to the governor. Either way, we'll be ready when he either calls or we come back February 17th. We'll be ready for the work at hand for the state of Minnesota.
Your governing partner, Leader Stevenson, since you announced?
I have not yet had an opportunity to visit with Leader Stevenson yet. One of the things that I can tell you, though, and this was the example that I, as minority leader, was exposed to, was weekly meetings, because we do work together. Leader Stevenson and I have already had a few meetings. It's a little different during the interim, but we've had a few meetings together. That will continue as we go forward.
Are you going to be able to work with him the way you work with Melissa Morton?
Everyone is an individual, but I look forward to doing the work that is at hand in a tied house and getting the work done for Minnesota.
What's the status of your campaign financing? Did you get some commitments that you'd be funded to?
I would say stay tuned. We are not even 24 hours in, and I look forward to expressing that and sharing numbers when they come out.
Have you talked to potential running mates? Have you talked to potential running mates?
That is all still in the works right now.
Everyone knows it's been 20 years since the Republicans won statewide. Why would you be any different if you were to lose one?
When the House of Representatives was the only thing on the ballot last year in the 24 election, Minnesota voters sent a very clear message back saying they needed a change, they wanted a change. One-party Democrat control was no longer the way to go. This is a perfect time, the 2026 elections, to make a change for the better in our state and work together. Thank you so much. I would say stay tuned. We've got more to share as we go forward. Thank you.